Most men think attraction is built by giving more time, more attention, more access. But the truth, the man who has no boundaries has no gravity. And gravity is what pulls a high-value woman toward you. You see, a woman who has options doesn't chase approval. She chases depth. She doesn't crave a man who bends. She studies the one who stands. Because when you stand firm in who you are, you create tension. And tension is the birthplace of desire. Welcome to Female Code Unlocked, where we decode female psychology beyond the surface. If you're ready to stop begging for attention and start commanding it silently, subscribe now. Because what you're about to understand will change how women feel around you. Let's begin. The first boundary that instantly attracts high-value women is this: you don't tolerate disrespect, even in small forms. Not the playful insults that cross the line. Not the late replies paired with sudden midnight "hey stranger" messages. Not the subtle comparisons to other men meant to provoke jealousy. Most men laugh it off. They tell themselves, "she's just testing." And they're right. But here's what they don't understand. A test isn't passed by enduring it. It's passed by responding with calm indifference. When she makes a joke at your expense in front of others and you smile slightly and change the topic, not defensive, not angry, just unmoved, something shifts in her nervous system. She feels it. You're not fragile. You're not reactive. And you're not available for disrespect. High-value women are used to men trying to win them, impress them, chase them. So when you subtly communicate, "I enjoy you, but I don't need you," you separate yourself from 90% of men instantly. And here's the psychological truth. Attraction grows where there is uncertainty. If she knows you'll tolerate anything just to keep her around, she relaxes, but not in the good way. She stops seeing you as a challenge. You become safe, but not exciting. A boundary reintroduces polarity. The second powerful boundary is this: you don't over-explain yourself. You don't justify why you were busy. You don't write paragraphs defending your decisions. You don't beg to be understood. When you cancel plans because you have priorities, you simply say, "Tonight won't work for me. Let's do another time." Calm, direct, done, no essay. And that silence? It speaks louder than 1,000 emotional speeches, because over-explaining signals fear of losing her approval. And high-value women are hyper-attuned to fear. They can smell it in your tone, your pacing, your urgency. But when you are comfortable being misunderstood temporarily, you radiate emotional authority. She may test you. She may withdraw slightly. She may even say, "You've changed." And you smile. Internally. Because you haven't changed. You've just stopped performing. Here's something most men never realize. A high-value woman doesn't want to dominate you. She wants to feel safe respecting you. Respect isn't built through dominance. It's built through consistency. And consistency requires boundaries. Think about the ocean. It's calm, beautiful, inviting. But it has depth and limits. And if you cross them, it does not negotiate. That's how your energy should feel. Warm, but not weak. Open, but not accessible to everyone. Interested, but never desperate. When you begin embodying this, something subtle happens. She leans in more. She asks deeper questions. She starts qualifying herself to you, not because you manipulated her, but because you stopped trying to earn what should be mutual. The third boundary is one most men struggle with deeply. You don't chase mixed signals. If her energy is inconsistent, hot one day, cold the next, you don't double your effort. You reduce it. You mirror her investment. This isn't game playing. This is emotional calibration. When a woman pulls back and you immediately pursue harder, you unconsciously confirm her higher position in the dynamic. You signal, "You decide my emotional temperature." But when she pulls back and you continue living your life, working out, building your goals, enjoying your friends, she feels the shift. Now she wonders. Now she feels the distance. Now she questions whether she miscalculated you. And that curiosity? That's where attraction breathes. You were never meant to convince someone to value you. You were meant to reveal that you value yourself. And a man who values himself has lines that cannot be crossed. Not aggressively, not dramatically, but quietly, firmly, unapologetically. Because the most attractive men aren't loud, they are steady, and steady men are rare. The fourth boundary that instantly shifts how a high-value woman sees you is this: you protect your time like it's sacred. Because it is. Most men treat their time like loose change, easily handed out, easily replaced. They rearrange their schedules at the slightest hint of female attention. Cancel gym sessions, postpone work, drop plans with friends. And what does that communicate? That my world revolves around you. But a high-value woman doesn't want to be your world. She wants to step into a world that already exists. When you say, "I'm busy Wednesday, I'm free Sunday evening," without hesitation, you subtly signal that your life is structured, purposeful, and not built around chasing her availability. And here's the psychological shift that happens inside her. She feels like she has to earn a place in your time. Not because you're arrogant, but because you're intentional. Time is the purest form of investment. When you guard it, you increase its value. When you give it away freely, it loses emotional weight. A man without priorities is easy to access. A man with priorities is intriguing, and intrigue is emotional oxygen. The fifth boundary is deeper. It's quieter, but it's powerful. You do not tolerate emotional manipulation. Not the guilt trips, not the silent treatments designed to provoke anxiety. Not the subtle victim narratives meant to pull you into rescuing mode. High-value women may not consciously manipulate, but they will unconsciously test your emotional strength. They'll withdraw slightly to see if you panic. They'll express disappointment to see if you crumble. And most men fail here. They rush to fix. They apologize excessively. They overcompensate. But when she goes silent and you respond with calm space instead of frantic energy, something inside her recalibrates. She realizes she cannot control your emotional state. And that's when respect begins. Because attraction without respect fades, but attraction with respect deepens. You see, emotional manipulation only works on men who fear loss. When you're not afraid to lose someone who disrupts your peace, you become psychologically untouchable. And untouchable men create tension. Not coldness, not cruelty, tension. The kind that makes her think about you when you're not there. The sixth boundary is the one that separates boys from men. You are willing to walk away, not as a threat, not as a tactic, but as a principle. If she repeatedly disrespects you, if she consistently gives half effort, if she plays games instead of building connection, you don't argue. You don't beg for clarity. You detach. Quietly. This is where most men break. Because walking away means facing uncertainty. It means surrendering the fantasy. It means accepting that she might not come back. But here's the paradox. The moment she senses that you truly could walk away, that your presence is a choice, not a dependency, her perception shifts dramatically. Scarcity creates value, and emotional self-sufficiency creates scarcity. When you're okay without her, she feels the space. When you're fulfilled without her validation, she feels the difference. And suddenly, you're no longer competing, you're selecting. High-value women are not attracted to control, they're attracted to containment. Containment of emotion, containment of reaction, containment of neediness. You don't explode, you don't chase, you don't plead, you observe, you decide, you move accordingly. And this steadiness feels rare in a world full of reactive men. Remember this: boundaries are not walls, they are filters. They don't push good women away. They filter out those who were never aligned. And the right woman? She won't be intimidated by your boundaries. She'll relax into them. Because for the first time, she feels a man who cannot be shaken, a man who chooses her, not because he needs her, but because she meets his standard, and that is magnetic. The final layer of this, the part most men never reach, is internal. Because real boundaries are not spoken, they are felt. A high-value woman can sense within minutes whether your standards are real or rehearsed. You can say, "I don't tolerate disrespect." You can say, "I value my time." You can say, "I'm not into games." But if your body tightens when she pulls away, if your mood drops when she doesn't text, if your confidence shakes when she mentions another man, she will feel it. And the spell breaks. The deepest boundary, the one that seals everything, is emotional self-containment. You do not outsource your worth. Not to her attention, not to her approval, not to her validation. You enjoy her presence, but you don't depend on it. This is where true attraction becomes effortless. Because when your nervous system is stable, hers relaxes. When you are grounded, she softens. When you are internally abundant, she senses she is not dealing with a man who is hungry, but with a man who is selective. And selection changes the dynamic completely. Most men approach women hoping to be chosen. High-value men observe, interact, and decide. There's a difference in posture. One leans forward slightly, seeking. The other stands upright, evaluating. Women are deeply intuitive about this. If she feels you are hoping to be enough for her, she unconsciously steps above you. If she feels you are deciding whether she aligns with your life, she steps into her best self. Not because you forced her, but because you created polarity. Here's the truth no one tells you. Boundaries are attractive because they signal identity. When you have clear lines, you have clear values. When you have clear values, you have direction. And direction feels masculine at its core. Not loud masculinity, not aggression, but grounded certainty. Think of a lighthouse. It doesn't chase ships. It stands firm. It doesn't beg to be seen. It shines. The right ships adjust their course toward it. The wrong ones pass by. And the lighthouse never moves. That's the energy. When you stop negotiating your standards for temporary attention, your entire presence changes. Your eye contact becomes calmer. Your voice slows down. Your reactions become measured. And suddenly, she feels like she's interacting with a man who cannot be emotionally hijacked. That safety, paradoxically, creates desire. Because she can lean into you without fearing collapse. She can test you without breaking you. She can challenge you without controlling you. And the moment she realizes that you will not fold under pressure, that your boundaries are not performance but principle, that's when admiration turns into attraction. That's when attraction turns into attachment. And that's when she chooses you. Not because you chased her, but because you never abandoned yourself. Now here's the part that most men are not ready to hear. Boundaries will cost you women. Read that again. When you stop overgiving, when you stop tolerating inconsistency, when you stop chasing mixed signals, some women will disappear, and your ego will whisper, "See? If you had tried harder, if you were softer, if you compromised just a little." But that voice is the old you, the approval-seeking version, the version who confused access with intimacy. Understand this deeply. Any woman who leaves because you enforced healthy standards was never aligned with you. She was aligned with your compliance. And compliance is not attractive long-term. It's convenient. High-value women are not looking for convenience. They're looking for emotional steadiness. They want a man who is kind, but not weak, present, but not suffocating, interested, but not dependent. And here's the psychological shift that changes everything. When you hold boundaries calmly, you communicate abundance. You signal that losing one connection does not collapse your identity. That you have options, not necessarily other women, but options in life. Purpose, direction, self-respect. And self-respect is magnetic, because a woman can only respect you to the depth that you respect yourself. If you laugh at jokes that sting, she will feel it. If you accept crumbs while pretending you're full, she will feel it. If you say it's fine when it's not, she will feel it. Women are emotionally perceptive. They don't just listen to your words, they read your emotional spine. And a man with no spine cannot lead, even in subtle ways. But a man who says, through action, "This is who I am, this is what I accept, this is what I don't," creates clarity. And clarity feels safe. Safe doesn't mean boring. Safe means stable. Stable means she can invest without fearing chaos. And when a high-value woman feels both emotional safety and subtle challenge, that combination becomes addictive. Here's the paradox. Boundaries do not reduce your dating pool. They refine it. They filter out drama. They filter out time wasters. They filter out women who thrive on emotional control. What remains? Women who are secure. Women who value strength without ego. Women who respond to calm authority. And those women don't need to be chased. They need to be met. At your level. So the question isn't, how do I attract high-value women? The real question is, am I behaving like a man who values himself? Because the moment you truly do, not perform it, not fake it, but embody it, your entire presence changes. You stop negotiating your standards for attention. You stop reacting emotionally to every shift in her mood. You stop seeking validation in every interaction. And in that stillness, you become rare. And rare men are not pursued because they beg. They're pursued because they're difficult to replace. If this shifted something inside you, if you felt that quiet recognition that it's time to evolve, then you already understand. Attraction isn't about doing more. It's about tolerating less. And when you master that, you don't just attract high-value women. You become a high-value man.